I've turned into a good guy. People know Mike Mizanin now on my show, and they look at me and they go, oh, we like him.
Does that ruin it in a way?
Yes, it does.
If you want to enter our new Xbox and PS5 giveaway, all you have to do is subscribe and leave a comment. We'll be picking a subscriber to win out of the comments. Remember, kids, actors are not the characters that they play on screen. And while technically WWE employs professional wrestlers, acting might as well be half the job. Seth Rollins might have been miserable across Monday nights all year long, but that doesn't necessarily mean the man behind the Messiah is that bad a dude. And some wrestlers are just so good at playing up the bad guy that you forget that's exactly what they are. Wrestlers playing up the bad guy. I'm D. Wicker from Watch WWE, and here's 10 wrestlers who are actually a bit nicer than you'd thought they were. Number 10, Bray Wyatt. I mean, I wouldn't expect the horror movie villain to be a great guy either, but hey ho, Bray's actually a pretty swell dude. The creepy backwoods cult leader spent a solid number of years touring the WWE roster and tormenting whoever he desired. Great men like Daniel Bryan, John Cena, and Roman Reigns have all fallen victim to Wyatt's bizarre mind games. And while all three of those men and many more men would overcome the Eater of Worlds when it came to the match itself, Bray is still undeniably one of kayfabe's worst people in the world. Especially now with The Fiend not only corrupting him, but Alexa Bliss now too. But in person, well, unless you're Bray's ex-wife, most tend to agree he's a solid dude.
I think you're super, and I love your pink jackets.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, I think you did pretty good. I'm pretty proud of you.
Oh my God.
Number 9, Alexa Bliss. And speaking of The Fiend's newest host, we have Alexa Bliss. It's bizarre to look back at NXT Bliss and realize that her gimmick started off as this sparkly girly girl cheerleader thing when all her best work came as a despicable bully. Taking shots and tearing egos, Alexa Bliss is probably the rudest wrestler we've had in a while, especially during her 2016 to 17 phase. Hell, even once Bliss turned babyface, she was pretty much the exact same person. Still a bully, just redirecting her own bullying at other bullies. While Nikki Cross managed to bring out some of the best of her, it seems Bray's going to be undoing all of that in the weeks to come. If she wasn't so good at playing maniacal, you might think it'd be a tough task for The Fiend to do so. However, seeing his backstage interviews show a completely different woman, as Lexi Kaufman is a total sweetheart.
Hi! Hello! Hi! Thanks for joining us today. Oh, look at these best buddies reunited.
Number 8, Lacey Evans. If Bliss isn't the rudest women's wrestler of the last 5 years, then we are looking at her right now. The sassy Southern Belles had a very confusing last year or so, as she'd randomly have her military service and motherly instincts brought up out of absolutely nowhere, trying to paint her in a positive light in an effort to turn her babyface. This was so odd because during every month prior, Lacey embodied that sassy Southern Belle spirit to the fullest and generally degraded everyone she came across, heel or face alike. But just like Alexa, the woman playing the bully could not be a sweeter woman behind the scenes.
The thought of being able to impact people because of where I come from and knowing what I'm capable of, regardless of the cards that I had, just motivated the hell out of me.
Number 7, Sami Zayn. Justified villains are just the best. So when Sami Zayn came back from injury and announced he was still after his IC championship, which he never lost, we really shouldn't have underestimated him. He got that belt back and he's never gonna let anyone live it down, especially WWE, the disrespectful company who falsely claimed Jeff Hardy to be holding the belt during his absence. Zayn is just incredible at prodding the audience, sticking his annoying fingers out and pushing all the right buttons to piss off every fan possible. His healing really is top tier work and is so good that you almost forget between the tweets of showing WWE's disrespect towards him that he's also like the most charitable wrestler to maybe ever live.
No, I'm extremely happy for Finn, and my God, talk about, out of the fire into the frying pan type of a situation. Yeah.
Number 6, Kevin Owens. And what's one televised sociopath without his best friend? Well, admittedly, KO hasn't played the ultimate bad guy in quite some time now. He's undeniably one of the top heels WWE has at its disposal were they to turn him back to his preferred tide. Don't get it twisted, Owens is a great babyface, but damn if he couldn't be the number one heel in this company. No one on this list can embody despicable quite like Owens. Don't forget, he basically murdered his best friend Sami Zayn on the first night in the company immediately after Zayn won the NXT Championship. That is who we're dealing with here. But unsurprisingly, seeing as KO and Zayn are actually best friends in real life, naturally the goodness is not just in one of them, and Owens portrays much more the version we're seeing right now in reality, although he does still have his sense of humor.
How are you? Miss here somewhere. Miss!
Just use your catchphrase. He doesn't care. He's talking about a stupid TV show.
Do you watch it?
Of course not.
Number 5, The Miz. Is The Miz the overall top heel of the last decade? Guys like CM Punk and Kevin Owens definitely staked their claim, but Miz was the one man consistently there wrestling all 10 of the 2010s. And while WWE did try their best to get face Miz over twice, it's clear what this man's calling was meant to be. Bad. The phrase chicken heel gets thrown around a lot in wrestling, and it probably embodies Miz better than anyone. Talk a big game, but do everything in your power to avoid beatings and cheat your way to win. The conniving tag partner of John Morrison prevailed as a memorable heel for an entire decade plus because of how great he is at playing that role. But just like everyone else here, he's actually really great in person, and there's a good reason WWE has him as one of their top ambassadors for the company.
I've turned into a good guy. People know Mike Mizanin now on my show, and they look at me and they go, oh, we like him.
Does that ruin it in a way?
Yes, it does.
Number 4, Bayley. Across NXT, Raw, and now SmackDown over 5 collective plus years, Bayley has only really ever had 2 modes, the child's and the teenager. While the main roster botched Bayley hard for years and made her seem like a literal child in an adult body, NXT's Bayley revolved around keeping her childlike wonder she had for wrestling whilst proving her abilities inside the ring. Unlike The Miz, she'll probably go down as one of the best baby faces of the last decade for her NXT work alone, to be honest. Yet, this second incarnation of Bayley we've been seeing for the last year or so could not be more different. She's pretty much become the ultimate female chicken heel. Bayley's such a terrible role model now as a heel, she basically turned heel on Sasha Banks as a heel. To avoid sounding like a broken record, I will let you fill in the blanks of which Bayley variant she's more like IRL.
You went from a good guy or good girl.
Yes.
To a bad girl.
Yes.
Why
a bad girl.
Bad girl. Why the change?
Bad girl.
Number 3, Braun. I miss when he yelled his name. While Braun's also had a few versions on both sides of the heel-face spectrum, Mr. Strowman's most notable work is unquestionably as a heel, if he even was, or really just rampaging monster. Braun spent most of his 2016 to 17 storming around the ring or backstage and just assaulting anyone and everyone he could get his massive hands on, and while the monster among men fizzled out in the following years, it seems between his Fiend feud and Roman Reigns holding that Universal Championship, we'll be getting the bad Braun back after all. But of course, behind the scenes, he's a big friendly giant.
It's happened so fast. Everything's taken off in such a positive way for Braun Strowman and my character with WWE. It's
Number 2, AJ Styles. So this whole list has basically been me repeating the exact same thing for every entry so far. Here's a person who's bad on screen. Here's them being nice in real life. So to spice things up, I'm not even going to bother telling you that AJ Styles is a great man compared to his on-screen cocky whole self, and instead remind you that AJ may well be a flat earther. Do with this information what you will.
Hey AJ, do you want to talk about how you think the earth is flat?
Do you want to talk about how your feet are flat?
They are flat, but like he legitimately thinks.
And number 1, Baron Corbin. It is still so baffling to me just how good Corbin is at his job. He's reached the X-Pac level, the heel Michael Cole on commentary level, where people don't just hate the character, they're not just booing because he's a heel, they don't want to see them on their screens, i.e., bad heat. But part of Corbin's gimmick is playing into that and making sure you know that he doesn't give a shit. Unlike a lot of heels, Corbin's not trying to be cool. He really wants to piss you off. Despite generally being insufferable on screen, Corbin's been described by many as one of the most beloved people behind the scenes, with Vince himself apparently being over the moon for the guy. The dude just loves annoying people in his role, and you gotta respect it. He's not trying to make a lot of friends, he's just trying to do his job. One of the worst people in kayfabe and best in real life, Corbin is an easy top spot for this list.
Like I said, I just love it. I revel in it. Like when people are booing and spewing their hatred on me, I love it. It makes me feel good. It makes me like I'm doing my job.
And those are 10 wrestlers who are a little bit nicer than you might have expected in person. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below. After liking the video, subscribe to the channel, and notifications, and that bell.